Good morning, girls. Tickle in my throat, Susan. Can you hear me hacking in the background? I am wheezy this morning and I don't know why. I don't know why, but I'm like, I'm wheezy. I woke up wheezy. I don't know why. I was eating a piece of leftover pizza for breakfast. And it's kind of stuck in my throat. But I'm like all wheezy for some reason. Anyway, it is November 1st. Can you believe that, you guys? November. What? All right. Jesus prays in Gethsemane, John 18, 1 through 2. After saying these things, Jesus crossed the Kidron Valley with his disciples and entered a grove of olive trees. Judas, the betrayer, knew this place because Jesus had often gone there with his disciples. Mark 14, 32 through 42. They went to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and Jesus said, "Sit here while I go and pray." He took Peter, James, and John with him, and he became deeply troubled and distressed. He told them, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." He went on a little farther and fell to the ground. He prayed that, if it were possible, the awful hour awaiting him might pass him by. "Abba, Father," he cried out, "everything is possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine." Then he returned and found the disciples asleep. He said to Peter, "Simon, are you asleep? Couldn't you watch with me even 1 hour? Keep watch and pray, so that you will not give in to temptation. For the spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Then Jesus left them again and prayed the same prayer as before. When he returned to them again, he found them sleeping, for they couldn't keep their eyes open, and they didn't know what to say. When he returned to them the third time, he said, "Go ahead and sleep. Have your rest. But no, the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Up, let's be going. Look, my betrayer is here." Matthew 26, 36 through 46. Then Jesus went with them to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and he said, Sit here while I go over there to pray. He took Peter and Zebedee's two sons, James and John, and he became anguished and distressed. He told them, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." He went on a little farther and bowed with his face to the ground, praying, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup of suffering be taken away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine." Then he returned to the disciples and found them asleep. He said to Peter, "Couldn't you watch with me even 1 hour? Keep watch and pray, so that you will not give in to temptation. For the spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Then Jesus left them a second time and prayed, "My Father, if this cup cannot be taken away unless I drink it, your will be done." When he returned to them again, he found them sleeping, and they couldn't keep their eyes open. So he went to pray a third time, saying the same things again. Then he came to the disciples and said, "Go ahead and sleep. Have your rest. But look, the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Up, let's be going. Look, my betrayer is here." Luke 22:39-46. Then, accompanied by the disciples, Jesus left the upstairs room and went, as usual, to the Mount of Olives. There he told them, "Pray that you will not give in to temptation." He walked away about a stone's throw and knelt down and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, please take this cup of suffering from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine." Then an angel from heaven appeared and strengthened him. He prayed more fervently, and he was in such agony of spirit that his sweat fell to the ground like great drops of blood. At last he stood up again and returned to the disciples, only to find them asleep, exhausted from grief. "Why are you sleeping?" he asked them. "Get up and pray, so that you will not give in to temptation." Jesus betrayed and arrested. Mark 14:43-52. And immediately, even as Jesus said this, Judas, one of the 12 disciples, arrived with a crowd of men armed with swords and clubs. They had been sent by leading priests and teachers of religious law and elders. The traitor Judas had given them a prearranged signal. "You will know which one to arrest when I greet him with a kiss. Then you can take him away under guard." As soon as they arrived, Judas walked up to Jesus. "Rabbi," he exclaimed, and gave him a kiss. Then the others grabbed Jesus and arrested him. But one of the men with Jesus pulled out his sword and struck the high priest's slave, slashing off his ear. Jesus asked them, "Am I some dangerous revolutionary that you come with swords and clubs to arrest me? Why didn't you arrest me at the temple? I was there among you teaching every day. But these things are happening to fulfill what the scriptures say about me." Then all of his disciples deserted him and ran away. One young man following behind was clothed only in a long linen shirt. When the mob tried to grab him, he slipped out of his shirt and ran away naked. Matthew 26:47-56. And even as Jesus said this, Judas, one of the 12 disciples, arrived with a crowd of men armed with swords and clubs. They had been sent by the leading priests and elders of the people. The traitor, Judas, had given them a prearranged signal. "You will know which one to arrest when I greet him with a kiss." So Judas came straight to Jesus. "Greetings, Rabbi," he exclaimed, and gave him the kiss. Jesus said, "My friend, go ahead and do what you have come for." Then the others grabbed Jesus and arrested him. But one of the men with Jesus pulled out his sword and struck the high priest, slashing off his ear. "Put away your swords," Jesus told him. "Those who use the sword will die by the sword. Don't you realize that I could ask my Father for thousands of angels to protect us, and he would send them instantly? But if I did, how would the scriptures be fulfilled that describe what must happen now?" Then Jesus said to the crowd, "Am I some dangerous revolutionary that you come with swords and clubs to arrest me? Why didn't you arrest me in the temple? I was there teaching every day. But this is all happening to fulfill the words of the prophets as recorded in the scriptures." At that point, all the disciples deserted him and fled. Luke 22:47-53. But even as Jesus said this, a crowd approached, led by Judas, one of the 12 disciples. Judas walked over to Jesus to greet him with a kiss. But Jesus said, "Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" When the other disciples saw what was about to happen, they exclaimed, "Lord, should we fight?" We brought the swords, and one of them struck at the high priest's slave, slashing off his right ear. But Jesus said, "No more of this," and he touched the man's ear and healed him. Then Jesus spoke to the leading priests, the captains of the temple guard, and the elders who had come for him. "Am I some dangerous revolutionary," he asked, "that you come with swords and clubs to arrest me? Why didn't you arrest me in the temple?" I was there every day, but this is your moment, the time when the power of darkness reigns. John 18:3 through 11. The leading priests and Pharisees had given Judas a contingent of Roman soldiers and temple guards to accompany him. Now, with blazing torches, lanterns, and weapons, they arrived at the olive grove. Jesus fully realized what was going to happen to him, so he stepped forward to meet them. Who are you looking for? He asked. Jesus the Nazarene, they replied. I am he, Jesus said. Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them. As Jesus said, I am he, they all drew back and fell to the ground. Once more, he asked them, Who are you looking for? Again, they replied, Jesus the Nazarene. I told you, I am he. And since I am the one you want, let these others go. He did fulfill his own statement. I did not lose a single one of those you have given me. Then Simon Peter drew a sword and slashed off the right ear of Malchus, the high priest's slave. But Jesus said to Peter, Put your sword back into its sheath. Shall I not drink from the cup of suffering the Father has given me? Annas questions Jesus. John 18:12 through 14. So the soldiers, their commanding officers, and the temple guards arrested Jesus and tied him up. First, they took him to Annas, since he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest at the time. Caiaphas was the one who had told the Jewish leaders, it's better that one man should die for the people. Peter's first denial, John 18:15 through 18. Simon Peter followed Jesus, as did another of the disciples. That other disciple was acquainted with the high priest, so he was allowed to enter the high priest's courtyard with Jesus. Peter had to stay outside the gate. Then the disciples who knew the high priest spoke to the woman watching the gate, and she let Peter in. The woman asked Peter, You're not one of that man's disciples, are you? No, he said, I am not. Because it was cold, the household servants and the guards had made a charcoal fire. They stood around it, warming themselves, and Peter stood with them, warming himself. The high priest questions Jesus, John 18:19 through 24. Inside, the high priest began asking Jesus about his followers and what he had been teaching them. Jesus replied, Everyone knows what I teach. I have preached regularly in the synagogues and the temple where the people gather. I have not spoken in secret. Why are you asking me this question? Ask those who heard me. They know what I said. Then one of the temple guards standing nearby slapped Jesus across the face. Is that the way to answer a high priest? He demanded. Jesus replied, If I said anything wrong, you must prove it. But if I am speaking the truth, why are you beating me? Then Annas bound Jesus and sent him to Caiaphas, the high priest. All right. Meredith. It's cold out. It's 30 something here, I think, or at least it was when I last looked. Yeah, 39. Burr. Burr, burr, burr. I ain't cut out for this anymore. I didn't move down here to freeze. It should not be 39 in October. Last year, I wore a tank top handing out candy. And it was warm. This year, we had to come inside. It's ridiculous. Didn't stop the candy getters, though. They were in full force. Holy Hannah. About 35 pounds of candy. Crazy pants. All right, well, yes, that is perfect walking weather, Susan, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and end in prayer, girls. God our Father, God our Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of our devotion, for meeting us here. God, thank you for the reading of your word today and the message that you have for each one of us in our hearts. And I just ask that you open our hearts to the message each day, especially this week as we read about the crucifixion and the sacrifice that was given for our lives and for our souls, God. God, I just lift up each woman here to you and all that they might be dealing with today as we head into this busy weekend for many. I just pray that you would help us to approach others in kindness and love, treat others the way we would want to be treated, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. Help us to use words that are kind and loving to those around us. Help us to make choices with our body that are healing and honoring to you, and recognizing our food as worship to you, our God. In your precious and holy name I pray. Amen. Not one candy getter? Really, Shelly? I live in a subdivision that is like everybody comes here. There was somebody at the end of our road that had signs out that said, "This way to the," what did it say? Something like, "We've got the goods," or something. "The good stuff is at this house." And there was like signs pointing down our road. There was hundreds of kids. Gaggles. I mean, there was people lined all up the roads in here, and it's a good subdivision for that because it's just the way it's laid out. You can just walk house to house to house to house and not have to go anywhere else. So, and we usually just sit at the end of the driveway, but Marin and her friend did last night, but they ended up coming in after a bit because it was cold. It was really, really cold. But honestly, you guys, there was more like full teenagers than anything else last night. There was a man and woman, complete adults, dressed up. No kids with them at all. They were like in their 40s. Marin opens the door and she's like, "Hi, great costumes." And I hear her put the candy in. And then I hear this guy go, "Thanks." And I'm like, "What the heck?" And Marin closed the door. She's like, "Mom, they were like in their 40s." Just a man and a woman. I died. I'm like, that's nervy, I think. I thought it was hilarious. Like, you do you, I guess. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I did, Tammy. I felt so much better in my workout yesterday. I'm really sore today. My arms are super sore. We took it easy and just did toning level stuff. Um, and it was good. It was good. I felt normal through the whole workout. So I just must have been, my electrolytes must have been off. I've got some electrolyte stuff that I've been putting in my water this week, really trying to rebalance some things. We had it happen twice to us. The one time we saw it happen was two teen boys. They took our massive bowl and dumped most in their pillowcases. What little was left, they dumped on the porch and kicked it everywhere. Ugh, rotten. Rotten. Yeah. We hold the bowls. We hold bowls. And like put the candy into the bags because otherwise the kids will come along and just like fistful the candy, and that stuff is expensive. It's like it's a major investment to hand out candy. It's a lot, and you need we had about 30 pounds, and we went through, there's a tiny bit left, very little. And we're like two per bag because beyond that, we just go through it it's just really fast that we go through. So anyway, there was one place in Maine that we used to go that would divide their driveway in half. And there was a sign on one side that said kids and a sign on the other side that said dads. And at the end of the dad's driveway, they would pass out. They would pass out beer and pretzels. I don't know why it makes me laugh so hard. It's not my jam, but kids, candy, dads, they all got beer and pretzels in the neighborhood we used to go. Like, that's an expensive undertaking. I need to hold the bowl, but in all the 6 years we set candy out last night's having it happen twice. That's crazy. People don't have a lot of morals. It's part of the trick for kids to act like that, but it is disrespectful. It's ignorant. There's no need of it. There's absolutely no need of it. Really, Shelly? See, we used to go when I was a kid. We knew the neighborhood to go to that had the full-size candy bars. We knew where to go. It was this really nice neighborhood. And there were like 4 houses in a row that you get like full size, full size, full size, dentist. And the dentist gave out the toothbrushes. Every year. I got a new toothbrush every year. And you get those little, he'd give out those little chewy tablets that would like stain your teeth where they needed to be brushed extra or where there was tartar buildup or something. We all loved those. Those were so much fun. I liked getting the toothbrush. I thought it was exciting. Anyway. All right, girls. Well, I got to let you go. I have some things to work on today. Plus, I need to head to the old Hobby of Lobbies because I have a Christmas tree to decorate and I have another tree to put up and I have some pumpkins to put away. I have some fall decorations to get out of here. I am ready for them to go because Christmas is coming to town this weekend. It's happening one way or the other. I'm going to make it happen. At least a beginning, the first step anyway. Did I date it wrong? Oh, shoot. I didn't update my date, Brenda. I didn't update the date on devotions. I'll have to go do that. Sorry about that. Oops. Nope. I'll have to go fix it on all the videos. I didn't update it. Oh, well. Oh, well. All right, girls. Thanks for joining me. I love you all.